And now for the main event. We invite you to sit back, relax and enjoy. Declare and protest.
Hi there, can I speak to you just for a second? 'Cause every minute of your time is precious, it's running low. Right now, someone's mother or brother was taken because a man in a suit needed space, so they had to go. Tell me how we spend all our money so wisely on a faulty printer or some coffee. I wanna know. If you don't have money, you don't have fame, you're already losing, get out of the race. Nobody questions, nobody cares. If you don't make a sound, they won't know that you're there. Ideally, working class people have no say in our economy. They build the chambers, we sit in no autonomy. It's grim, I know. Secrets behind closed doors in the doll, it's a snake pit. Egos, agendas, power, it's all sacred. No one can know. If you don't have money, you don't have fame, you're already losing, get out of the race. Nobody questions, nobody cares. If you don't make a sound, they won't know that you're there. If you don't have money, you don't have fame, you're already losing, get out of the race. Nobody questions, nobody cares. If you don't make a sound, they won't know that you're there. One fine morning, I woke up early. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao. One fine morning, I woke up early. Find the fascist at my door. And if I die, oh partigiano, bella ciao, goodbye beautiful partigiano. Please take me with you, I'm not afraid anymore.
De bhrí gur bíd daoine dúchais agus cearta cónanna dóthananta gach ball den cinenne déine. A bheith aitheanta is bun leis an saoirse, an ceartais agus an siacán ar an domhan. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind. And the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief, and freedom from fear and want, has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. De bhrí go bhfuil sé rí-thábhachtach forbairt an cadramh cordial idirnáisiún a chur chun cinn. Whereas the peoples of the United Nations have, in the Charter, reaffirmed their faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of a human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedoms. De bhrí go bhfuil tuiscint commónta ar na cearta agus ar na saoirse sin rí-thábhachtach chun an gcealtanas seo a cholína go hill is go hiomlán ar fad. Now, therefore, the General Assembly proclaims this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations, to the end that every individual and every organ of society, keeping this declaration constantly in mind, shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms, and by progressive measures, national and international, to secure their universal and effective recognition and observance, both among the peoples of member states themselves and among the peoples of territories under their jurisdiction.
And if I die, oh partigiano, bella ciao, goodbye, beautiful, bury me upon that mountain, beneath the shadow of the flowers.
All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience, and should act toward each other in a spirit of brotherhood.
Article 3. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person.
Article 4. No one shall be held in slavery or in servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms.
Article 5. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment.
Article 6. Everyone has the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law.
Article 7. All are equal before the law and are entitled, without any discrimination, to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in this violation of this declaration, and against any incitement of such discrimination.
Article 14. Everyone has the right to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. This right may not be invoked in the case of prosecutions genuinely arising from non-political crimes, or from acts contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations.
Article 16. Men and women at full age, without any limitation due to race, nationality, or religion, have the right to marry and to found a family. Marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. The family is the natural and fundamental group unit of society and is entitled to protection by society and by the state.
This summer, members of Alternative Entertainments, Subsounds Music Collective and Tallaght Community Arts Rising Generation join forces. What you're about to see is an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the making of Declare in Protest.
One fine morning, I woke up early. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao. One fine morning, I woke up early. Find the fascist at my door.
Everybody in this world should deserve a chance at making it. They should deserve a chance to education, to better themselves, to see the world, to live in a house.
It's a written set of rules that you can go back to every time you feel like someone is not respecting your rights.
We look different. We have the different hair colour, we wear different things, but underneath our skin is the same thing. We are all equal.
My name is Martin Moran. I run a music project called Subsounds. We usually get them to write their own songs. but this brief was given to us by Tony Fagan in Tallaght Community Arts, and we had been thinking about the importance of protest songs anyway. So Tony's project to do with the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights seemed to fit in nicely with the idea of protest songs, so we married the two together.
To go to being around these like-minded people and having this project on all the time, to being stuck in your room with the four walls and a Zoom call every 2 days, it was really difficult. And I think with people being left alone and in that position, as much as people loved to make their baked goods and treats to occupy themselves, most people were left alone with their thoughts and to think about themselves, about what's going on, about the world as a whole.
It was very frustrating for me because all of a sudden I go from doing so many things to just being stuck in these four walls, sitting in front of a phone all day, not being able to do anything or put my energy into anything.
The people passing. In doing this project, I had to work with 6 readers. I divided 5 articles for each reader. I think it's really important in doing these kind of things, in reciting, for example, the UN Articles of Human Rights, to really internalize them, not just have this veneer of understanding. I think it's important if you're reading them out and if you want to deliver them to the person watching you or listening to you, to really internalize the meaning of each sentence that you're doing. Those rights were written with intent, they were drafted a bunch of times, they were edited down, every word is essential. It was really interesting to hear them talk. They were more or less, I think, Zoomers is what you call it, Generation Z. And I'm very interested in what the readers that I had to work with, what they thought, what their opinions were. And they were very, very politically engaged, they're very politically aware, socially engaged. They were aware that politics permeates how we live. You might not be interested, you might think it's really cynical, fair enough, it is. But you gotta have some level of engagement. It will influence how you live if you ignore it.
There wasn't an awful lot of protest songs being written anymore, nowhere near the level of the 60s, 70s and 80s for sure. So I wanted to introduce some of the younger musicians in the area to the notion of protest and how protest could work in music.
I think it's given us a great sense of self-awareness now, because this has been an ongoing thing and many people my age wouldn't actually think about it. But when you listen to these protest songs ranging from Woody Guthrie to Joni Mitchell to Billy Bragg, it's all throughout the years, it's always been a continuous thing of revolution and change.
Like the whole idea of isolation, the whole idea of the world and the status that everybody's in, like with the whole, in America, as Megan said, the Black Lives Matter, the environment, about COVID-19 as well and how it's been handled around the world. And I just put everything and blood, sweat and tears into songwriting on my piano or on my guitar.
We created a playlist of protest songs of the last 100 years or thereabouts. The UN Declaration was published or written in around 1948, so the focus was from the 40s on.
I spent a lot of time researching the Joni Mitchell Big Yellow Taxi song and about the environment, and that's something that I love. I love speaking about the environment.
One of our participants, Megan McGarry, has written a couple of, I suppose they're anti-corruption, sort of anti-orthodoxy songs recently, and one of them is one we're going to use for this project called Snake Pit.
The best way to express yourself is to put it in a song or put it in writing or put it in something, so we needed to do that.
Maybe we had awakened some of that sense amongst them already. So it's been interesting, witnessing them engage with this kind of, this element of music that maybe isn't as popular or as current as once it was.
I had already been thinking about it, and then Martin had given us this idea of, hold on, how about we do a project on all the protest songs?
Hi there, can I speak to you just for a second? 'Cause every minute of your time is precious, it's running low. Right now, someone's mother or brother was taken because a man in a suit needed space, so they had to go. Tell me how we spend all our money so wisely on a faulty printer or some coffee, I wanna know. But when we question what they are doing about refugees or how there's people dying waiting in A&E, they don't wanna know. If you don't have money, you don't have fame, you're already losing, get out of the race. Nobody questions, nobody cares. If you don't make a sound, they won't know that you're there. Hi there, can I speak to you just for a second? Cause every minute of your time is precious, it's running low. Right now, someone's mother or brother was taken because a man in a suit needed space, so they had to go. If you don't have money, you don't have fame, you're already losing, get out of the race. Nobody questions, nobody cares. If you don't make a sound, they won't know that you're there. Ideally, working class people have no say in our economy. They build the chambers, we sit in no autonomy. It's grim, I know. Secrets behind closed doors in the doll, it's a snake pit. Egos, agendas, power, it's all sacred. No one can know.
The Pearse Museum in Rathfarnham is the location of Patrick Pearse's last home and the place where he chose to run his progressive and inspirational school from 1910 to 1916. The miracle is that the place has survived almost untouched, and that the sort of activities that Pearse created, or the opportunities he created for his pupils, are still available to children today, children and young people. Some of the activities that are going on here, he wouldn't have imagined. He would be thrilled, I'm sure, to see the young people from Tallaght Community Arts and the innovative and creative things that they've done here. We've had children from schools put on Shakespeare in the Park using the backdrop of the Follies that date to the late 18th century, that Pearse used in his plays and pageants in the early 20th century and are being reimagined today. I think we are continuing to give children and young people the opportunities that he dreamt of and only got to put in practice, I suppose, for 6 years here and 2 years prior to that. It's a real joy for us who work here to hear young people still around the house and the grounds, and continuing to take inspiration and grow and develop their own particular talents.
Before this project, I'd never really actively thought about the Declaration of Human Rights. I knew that it was there. I knew that I was privileged enough to have these rights, but I never really thought about them that much. And thankfully, being a part of this project has opened my eyes to now being hyper aware of these. And the preamble to me was really lovely to read because it felt very personal. The articles 1 through 30 are there for a reason. They're quite professional. They're laying out the rules on how you should live morally and legally, and that's nice. But the preamble made it feel like a person was writing it, and I really, really liked being able to connect with that because it really kind of opened your eyes to just how, I know we've said it before, but just how damaged these people were. You can't see that in the articles themselves. The preamble really tells you there's a whole preamble talking about the barbarous acts that will be on the conscience of mankind forever. Like, that is powerful language, and language that they chose to put in for a reason. This is a heavy document that needs to be respected, and I think that was a lovely thing to see in the preamble, that don't take this declaration lightly, is what the preamble was saying. And I really liked reading it for that reason. And then reading it in Irish was really lovely because it was an extra little connection for me. It felt less distant because being a Gaeilgeoir is kind of unique. In the eyes of like the international world, it's this teeny weeny little language that hardly any people speak in comparison to English or French or German or Chinese or whatever. And it was really lovely. I think it was an extra little connection to my nationality, my right to have a nationality, my right to have a national language, and being able to express this very important legal document in my language of my nation gave me a lot of power that I didn't know it would. because it felt like I was talking to the land as well as the people. I was saying, this is the right thing to do, and here is why, in a language that everyone can understand. Because although it just, to some people it may just sound nice that it's just in Irish, but there's people in the West that have Irish is their first language and they don't feel supported legally ever. Like, yes, you can watch the legal debates on Gigi Cahir. That's all well and good, but like, it's very clear that hearing it being spoken at the same time as and in conjunction with English makes it feel like an even playing field. And I like that, because the whole point of the declaration is that everybody is on an even playing field. And I liked that. Rehearsing the preamble was very interesting because I went into it with the expectation of just reading from a piece of paper. From a perspective of empathy, I think it's important to understand why these people wrote these words. It wasn't just a first draft, one and done. These people thought about this declaration for what I can only think of as at least months, maybe years. And there's a reason why every article that I say starts with whereas, where everybody is included. There's a reason behind every single word, every single comma. And I felt it was very important for me to sit and understand what they were going through and understand why they did everything they had to. I really did expect to just read this like a kind of a newsreader. That's how I imagined it to be. I didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was. So being able to balance those two feelings of impartial judgment and passion, that is seen in the language, but being able to perform it and like feel that while speaking was really telling and really lovely for me to be able to, because I felt more connected to people from 72 years ago in a way that I've never done before. I felt like I was at the table while they were writing it. There was a few articles, especially Oscailge, that were quite difficult to understand for a non-Irish speaker. Even though it's a different language, having the diction and the cadence in your voice to know when the important beats of a sentence are being said. Even if you don't understand the words that are being spoken, you will understand the intent behind them. And that was a really important part that we tried really hard to work on. To make a declaration written in English and Irish as universal as possible was difficult, but it was a wonderful challenge. I really enjoyed making this the most universal declaration it could be, even though it's only in 2 languages. I really liked doing that. That was fun. It was really fun, actually. That was a nice day, actually. Fui chóm an dearbhú cearta déine, ceapan seo go sé an bilóg sara is tábhachtaí riamh ar scríomh agan. Mar scríomh é seachta dó mbliana ó shin, in ann ó fásach bhí tragód i ngach áit, timpeall an domhan an céadúr ceapam, not an céadúr riamh, ach ceann den a céadúr bailú gach duine ar domhan le chéile agus a dúirt le gach duine. Ní féidir linn é seo a dhéanamh riamh arís. Is botú nó fásach ar an domhan é ba mar ag smaoineamh faoi ar feadh an cuideile dar héal. Rudí fásach a gcónaí ar raibh dul ar an sin. Scríomhú an bilóg seo an is nach raibh an dul tríd an tragóid sin riamh arís. An bilóg seo a deireann leis an domhan ar fad, bí meas ar a chéile a gcónaí le a hell. Bí cearta i gach duine i gcónaí le a hell. Rudí simplaí, simplach, nach bíonn tú ag smaoineamh orthú ag siúl timpeall an lá, tá cearta ar gach duine ar an domhan, éidicas a bheith acu, a bheith sláinte a bheith acu, like, rudí simplaí. Ach déanamuid dearmid orthú, agus tá sé fásach, bránach gur bhfuil sin ag dul ar ach tá sé an tábhachtach dúin cuimhnú ar na fearg sa mná sin seachta dó mbliana hin a scríomhú an bilóg seo. Thuaidh siad tríd tragód fásach nach féidir linn leirt faoi gan smaoineamh ar duine éigin ag fáil báis. Ú fásach. Caiimiid an meas a haspáint duna fearg sa mná sin a gcónaí. Scríomhú é seo síos dún go léir. Seachta dó mbliana hin bhí siad ag smaoineamh ar an todhchaí.
Sheag smuoinmh ní féidir leis seo a dhéanamh arís, ní féidir leis an star, how do you say, copa dhéanamh ar an star arís, ní féidir lena dhéanamh riomhrís, si ró fásach. Tá an bilóg seo, scríbte síos chun midne a chur, tá an dearbhú seo, scríbte síos chun midne cosint ó chéile. Sé an tábhachtach massive agan ar an bilóg seo. Tá sé an sin dún chun muid a cosint agus chun gachtainna timpeall ar na cosint agus caiimiid mass a bheith agan ar an bilóg sin I gcónaí.
Well, I do agree that I think a Declaration of Human Rights is something that we definitely need. Every single person on this planet is human, and that's the only thing that people should look for. It doesn't matter whether they're black, they're white, their sexual orientation, where they're from in the world, what their social status is in the hierarchy, it does not matter. They are still human. And with these Declaration of Human Rights, although each country might not follow them to the best that they should, it's still there. It's a written set of rules that you can go back to every time you feel like someone is not respecting your rights and not respecting something that you feel is just, it's normal. It's what you should have. It's just the common thing, common decency. I couldn't turn around and tell you that a history teacher ever told me what my human rights were. And that's the thing, if you don't know your human rights, you don't have any.
Ríhabhachtach chun an gealtain seo cholína go himis go homán ar fáil. I knew it.
Sometimes you just need a phone.
Watch me forget it there. Article 10. Everyone. It's so terrible at this.
Article 6. Everyone has the right to recognition as a person. Wait. Oh, sorry.
All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act toward each other in a spirit of brotherhood.
And have determined to promote social progress among I forgot the last bit.
Article 10. Everyone is entitled, in full equality, to... No, wait, am I saying... Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I'm saying the next one. I'm overthinking it. That's okay.
Education.